Hey, welcome back to the Missouri Sports Network, MissouriSportsNetwork.com, where everyone has a home field advantage. A special segment here, our Chevy Dealers of the Ozarks Athlete of the Week segment. We go back to stomping grounds of 30-plus years ago, and welcome back MidAmerica Nazarene head football coach Paul Hanson. And Coach Hanson, thanks so much for coming in the show today.
Hey, thanks for having us, and so it's good to see you again.
You bet. You bet. We talked early on in the season, and the gentleman sitting to your right was the backup quarterback for MidAmerica Nazarene, and due to some injuries and some other things that have happened, had a pretty big week here a week ago in his first start. Kind of tell us a little bit about Adrian Parsons there to your right.
Yeah, we kind of came into the season. We knew how talented Adrian was. I actually started recruiting him 3 years ago when I was at Western New Mexico. And so our relationship kind of started way back then. And when I got the job here, he was kind of one of the big targets that I was trying to bring in here with me as I got the head coaching job. And kind of going this year, we didn't really kind of know where this would all line up for him. And having a couple of guys that are a little bit older than him, we want to kind of slowly get him into the feel of the college game and all that. And really, we've had a couple of injuries at the quarterback position, and we kind of just threw him in there, midway through the year, and he kind of helped us come back in a game. And then last week, our quarterback hurt his hand pretty bad in the game, and he came right in and led us to a victory. And so, really, this week was his very first start, and you would not even known it watching the game.
Okay, now, and we're not making this up. This is his first start. He goes out 659 yards passing, breaks an NAIA national record for a single game in his first start. Plus, he rushes for 89 yards in the game. Number one, what was the talk like at halftime? I mean, where was he at halftime? And did you even think, or when did you start noticing that this might be possible?
I think kind of at halftime, we always get the stats at halftime, and I knew he had a pretty good first half, but kind of looking at it, we got the stats. He'd already thrown for over 300 by halftime. I was like, well, man, we might have a shot here of put some big numbers up for the day. And the biggest thing for him is just as a play caller, trying to keep it easy for him and make him feel comfortable. But there's never really a point in that game I was like, man, I got to hold back here. I'm just going to let him do his thing. Sometimes as a coach, it's easier just to kind of get out of the way, let him do his thing and not say too much.
Yeah. Well, Adrian, first off, on behalf of Chevy Dealers of the Ozarks, congratulations. And this is, I'm sure you're going to get national recognition for this as well, but I certainly appreciate you being part of the show today.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
You bet. An El Paso, Texas native. Now take us first through how you arrived at MidAmerica Nazarene and kind of what led to that, and then we'll talk a little bit about the game.
So, yeah, like as Coach Hanson had explained, he recruited me since I was a sophomore in high school. Like we had a great relationship and stuff. And I just think throughout the whole recruiting process, Coach Hanson, he was just always there for me. And he was always, texting me. He wasn't like any other coach, just like, hitting me up, stuff like that. Like Coach Hanson was there outside of football and stuff like that. So I really, truly felt like this was home and this is where I needed to be.
So going into, you come out of I believe the Missouri Valley game is where you came in for the injured quarterback Blake, and his last name escapes me now, but you come in for Blake, and then you're not sure going into the week that you're going to start until probably a couple days prior to the game. So take us there from that first start, that first snap, and then when did you realize that you were having a big game?
So going into the game, I knew they had an All-American linebacker. I had done a lot of studying, a lot of film time. I was a little nervous and stuff. My first drive didn't go as well as I wanted it to go. And then after that, like it just the game slowed down for me. I got a little bit more comfortable. I don't know, like it just everything just felt like easier after the first drive. And then the play calling got better and better and better. And I just felt like we were unstoppable. There was a point where I just felt, we were unstoppable.
So take us through that, the numbers. What numbers were you made aware of? Did somebody tell you, and Coach talked a little bit at half. You knew you had over 300. Were you being talked to during the game? Hey, you've got over 400. You've got over 500. Hey, you just hit 600. Was anybody relaying those numbers to you?
No, not at all. I had known at halftime because at halftime we bring in all those numbers and stuff. But during the game, the second half, I knew nothing until the very end. They were like, "Hey, dude, like you had 659 passing yards." And I was just like, "Whoa!" Yeah, I was shocked.
Yeah. Now the record, I believe, prior to that was maybe 636 or somewhere in that neighborhood. Adrian, take us. What was working really well for? Obviously, you got to give a lot of credit to your offensive line, and you got to have guys on the other end of that can catch it. So, I mean, those guys were doing a heck of a job too. They probably had incredible numbers.
Yes, sir. So we had 3 guys that had over 100 yards receiving, and then the play calling was just phenomenal. Like, I really feel like this offense is it's a very explosive passing offense. We got the players for it, everything.
Who's the first person you heard from, after the game that just said, "Hey, congratulations on breaking the record"? I mean, who's calling you? Who's texting you? Who are you hearing from?
My dad was going crazy at home, and I was just like, "Oh, like you gotta settle down." Like I thought it was too much for me, but then no. After a while, like it broke out on MNU Sports that I had broken the single game record, and I was like, I didn't know it was a single game record. And I just got like my phone flooded with messages and notifications and stuff. It was crazy.
What's the biggest game you had in high school?
Biggest game in high school was my junior year against Isleta High School. I had 442 passing and then 109 rushing. And I remember after that game, that's when Coach Hansen, he was like, God, I knew this was a guy. He followed me back on Twitter and everything. I knew that after that game, that was the game that Coach Hansen really wanted.
Coach Hansen, you're sitting there watching that. You've coached a lot of football at the high school level, the collegiate level. Just kind of in your mind, what was really working well for him? Was he just reading the defenses really well? I mean, he talks a lot about the play calling. What was just clicking?
Really kind of going into the game, we had a good game plan going in for him and to make him feel comfortable. And I've done this long enough to where you can kind of tell if someone's comfortable, if they're not. So you got to kind of adjust how you call some based off how the game is really too big for him. I mean, our Blake who hurt his hand, I called timeout because I could tell something was wrong, and to give time for Adrian to warm up. His very first play, he goes in, he runs in, it was a touchdown without even going through the game plan. So kind of goes next week, we just kind of went with some of his strengths that we thought he could do, and our receivers do a good job of getting to space and getting open, and he found the receivers. And so, a lot of times football is not that hard. It's really not. You just got to go with what's working and what the players like, because if the players like to play, then it's going to work more likely because they feel comfortable. So really that's all it really was. This whole COVID thing, this last couple, 20 months has been hard for a lot of these kids that are freshmen and sophomores, but the thing I saw in him was, his senior year, if his COVID season, when I got cut short, he would be the all-time leading passer in El Paso history. And really, that's not a whole lot of games you got to play your high school career, and he would have been the all-time leading passer. And so there's some stuff I can't coach, and so that's what you gotta find in really any quarterback that you have, that because they touch the ball every play of the game. So.
Yeah, it's got to make it easy now to maybe sign some wide receivers. Yeah.
Yeah, and really it's kind of it is. And really, this year obviously hasn't gone how we wanted it to, but all of our receivers, we're only losing one senior. The rest are all freshmen and sophomores right now. And so going forward in the future, the future is very bright.
Yeah. Once again, we're visiting with MidAmerica Nazarene head football coach Paul Hansen and our Chevy Dealers of the Ozarks Athlete of the Week, the new single game record holder in all of NAIA football passing yards. Adrian Parsons. And Adrian, where do you go from here? What's your offseason look like?
Well, my offseason just to get bigger, get stronger, to prepare, keep competing. I know no job's ever secure, so you got to just keep competing, have a good spring ball, have a good summer offseason, all of that. Just keep preparing for next week or for next year.
Yeah. Make sure you get that classwork taken care of.
Yes, sir.
You got to be eligible, or it doesn't matter.
Yes, sir.
Coach Hanson, what's your offseason look like?
We're just kind of starting our new part of the season right now is recruiting, and so we're going to be out recruiting, trying to find at our program. Then we come back after Christmas. We'll kind of start the next phase, which will be, the off season and getting our guys ready, just to kind of get stronger, and then after spring break, we'll start spring ball. We'll have have our 14 practices and have our spring game, and then boom, it's already summertime. So it's going to go really fast. So it's really good too. Just having, we had a really big freshman class this year. So to kind of, some of these guys, it's their first true off season, because some of these guys have been going from football to basketball to track, and now they're training their body just for football. So we're excited about that and getting the guys ready for next year.
Outstanding. Well, again, Adrian, congratulations, and thanks so much for your time. And Coach, thanks for helping set this up.
Awesome. It's always good to talk to you, and go Pioneers.
You bet. Go Pioneers. Coach Hanson, thank you. You're listening to the Missouri Sports Network here at MissouriSportsNetwork.com, where everyone has a home field advantage. Keep it right here